The last thing Chris Watts did before his family vanished was smile on camera. He looked like a normal husband, quiet, calm, the kind of guy neighbors barely noticed. He lived in a neat suburban home in Colorado with his pregnant wife, Shanann, and their 2 little girls. Their life, at least online, looked perfect. Videos of laughter, birthday parties, family hugs, the kind of life people scroll past and think they've got it all. But behind that picture-perfect image, something was already breaking. Shanann was outspoken, full of energy. She documented everything: her pregnancy, her kids, her marriage. Chris, on the other hand, was reserved, almost too reserved. Friends later said he seemed distant, like he was there, but not really there. And then there was someone else. Chris had started an affair with a coworker, and this is where things get weird, because instead of leaving his marriage, instead of starting over, he began quietly imagining a life where his family simply didn't exist. No arguments, no custody battles, just gone. On August 13th, 2018, Shanann came home late from a business trip. Security footage shows her walking into the house at around 2 a.m. That was the last time anyone saw her alive. Just hours later, Chris would casually text coworkers like it was any other day. But inside that house, something unthinkable had already happened. At first, Chris claimed Shanann had taken the kids and left after an emotional argument. He even went on local news, pleading for their return, standing on his porch, swaying slightly, giving forced smiles. If they're out there, just come back. But here's the chilling part. Detectives watching that interview immediately felt something was off. His body language didn't match his words. No panic, no urgency, just emptiness. So they dug deeper. Neighbors reported strange behavior. One neighbor, Nate, showed police his security footage. It captured Chris backing his truck into the driveway early that morning, something he never did. As the footage played, Chris stood behind the officer, visibly nervous, hands on his head, rocking slightly. This is where everything starts to unravel. Police brought Chris in for questioning. At first, he stuck to his story, calm, collected. Then they gave him a polygraph test. He failed, badly. And that's when investigators applied pressure. They suggested a scenario that maybe Shanann had hurt the children and Chris reacted. It was a tactic, and it worked. Chris broke, but his first confession wasn't the full truth. He claimed Shanann had killed their daughters in a rage, and in response, he killed her. For a moment, it almost sounded believable, but something didn't sit right. Why would a mother so devoted suddenly snap like that? So investigators kept pushing, and then the real story came out. Chris admitted he had planned it. That morning, he strangled Shanann in their bedroom while she was pregnant. Then, with their daughters still alive, he placed their bodies in his truck. Imagine that. 2 little girls sitting in the back seat as their father drove them to an oil site where he worked. And this is the part that's almost impossible to process. One by one, he took their lives. Then he disposed of their bodies in oil tanks, his wife buried nearby. All so he could start over. No family, no responsibilities, just freedom. But freedom didn't last long. Police quickly gathered enough evidence, texts, surveillance, inconsistencies. The case closed in record time. Chris Watts pleaded guilty to all charges. He was sentenced to life in prison without parole. And even now, people still ask the same question. How does someone go from being a quiet, ordinary father to committing something so monstrous? There were no warning signs loud enough, no clear breaking point anyone could point to. Just silence. And that might be the scariest part of all. Because sometimes the people who seem the most normal are hiding the darkest secrets.